I get caught up in like societal titles, which is why I'm really excited to not have those right now. Without I do this for work, I feel like I'm able to, it's forcing me to like be like, all right, well, who is Montana if she's not a dancer? Who is Montana if she's not a yoga teacher? Who is Montana if she's not doing XYZ to make a living or like obtain money to survive in this world? So I don't know the answer to that by any means. The new Montana definitely wears bandanas. Why does it feel like such a big deal? Because it is. Introduce yourself. Who are you? What do you do? My heart's beating so fast. I know that this is a question, at least that you ask most people. And I was really excited. I don't want to say preparing because I didn't prepare, just like thinking about this question because recently I have stripped away the layers of like titles. So, who are you? What do you do? I'm Montana Mitchell. What do I do? What comes to mind is like, what do I do? I'm alive. And if someone hears that and they're like, duh, then they don't get it. If someone hears it and they're like, hell yes, then you get it. Yeah. So, what do I do? I thrive in putting myself in situations or experiences that feel uncomfortable. I love to be curious and to like obtain knowledge through experience rather than just reading a book. I guess that's what you call street smart. I don't know if I consider myself smart, but definitely not book smart. Yeah, so through like embodied experiences, I love to explore and feel alive and learn and connect with other people. I love people. I am a teacher by nature. I remember being a little girl in my playroom pretending to like teach my class. And that turned into teaching dance and teaching yoga and teaching people how to teach yoga. And so, what I've found through all these different ways, or like even if it's uh, maybe inspiring, maybe kind of forcing people to come try new things with me, whether that's a movement class or running or a concert with like a concert where like the genre isn't something that me or the person that I'm forcing to come with me is like a genre that we're used to or that we know. And through all of these experiences of like building community and sitting in the role of a teacher, I love to challenge people and myself because I do this for myself as well. I love to challenge myself and others to like rise to the occasion and surprise ourselves. That's kind of what, yeah, that also answered what do I do? Yeah, I love to build community and hold space and set really high standards and invite whoever's interested in doing those things with me along for the ride. So, yeah, I don't know if that answered it at all, but that's who I am and that's what I do currently. I'm a dog mom. All right. You said you're re-meeting yourself right now. Who is the Montana you're meeting right now? There's that, there's like a trend going on social media that's like, I'm learning that my 30s are really just like my 16-year-old self, like coming back into play or something along those lines. So that's how what I mean when I'm re-meeting myself. I get caught up in like societal titles, which is why I'm really excited to not have those right now. By quitting my job and not having a plan, wholeheartedly not having a plan, and just kind of like waking up each day. The past few days too, I forgot what day it was. And I was like, I am rich because I'm running and I'm like, wait, literally, what am I doing today? Where am I going? And I'm like, it's Sunday, it's Monday. This is what I've always dreamed of without the like, I do this for work. And yeah, I mean, honestly, like without I do this for work, I feel like I'm able to, it's forcing me to like be like, all right, well, who is Montana if she's not a dancer? Who is Montana if she's not a yoga teacher? Who is Montana if she's not doing XYZ to make a living or like obtain money to survive in this world? So I don't know the answer to that by any means. The new Montana definitely wears bandanas. But yeah, this what I'm feeling myself back into is the same Montana that was like sitting in my playroom, like pretending to teach class, but I don't have any students. So, but it's really liberating. And I feel really grateful that like even though I'm trying to think of like things that I am. So I'm like, I'm a dog mom, I'm a wife, I'm a friend, I'm a daughter, I'm a sister. But I feel really grateful that in all of those roles, I don't feel like anyone has any expectations of me, which is really liberating. It's really amazing, especially in my marriage, because obviously I live with my husband. I shouldn't say obviously, I live with my husband. And he's just like, you want to quit your job? Quit your job. You want to start running? Start running. You want to sign up for a marathon? I'll sign up with you too. I won't train. We'll see what happens. And so the fact that like my family and my close friends don't have any expectations of me, it's like really giving me the space to like figure out who I am in this season of my life. And remember that like not only are we allowed to reinvent ourselves, but like why would we not? Life's too short to not try anything you want to try. I'm looking at your guitar. I'm like, maybe I should start playing the guitar. Matt plays the guitar, and yeah, like there's plenty of guitars in my house. I don't know if that's my next move, but it could be. Who knows? Who freaking knows? All right. What is driving you to re-meet yourself? I don't think there's anything wrong with societal titles because I think it's really hard to get out of them. And I don't know if it's necessary to get out of them. Like it's okay to be to call yourself what it is you do for work. I think that's amazing, especially if you're happy doing it and you're passionate about it. That's great. I got to a point where I realized that I was no longer happy with what I was doing to make money, and not because of anyone else, but because of me. Like something in me wanted something different. I don't even want to say wanted something more, even though it is more, but I'm hesitant to say that because it's not like I didn't have enough. It's just like I wanted to go a different direction. Again, not knowing at all what that direction is. But feeling like really just like called to something else. And to be honest with you, like where I first felt that call to try something else was a place of resistance. So I was like trying to get myself a square peg to fit into a round hole. I was like, this is supposed to work like this. This is supposed to be this way, and it's supposed to make me feel this way, and it's not. It's not. And so I've used the analogy a lot through this transition of like, I was banging my head against the door. I was like banging, banging, banging. And I'm like, is anyone going to notice that I'm banging my head against the door? And then finally I came to terms with like, no one's going to notice. Or maybe someone will notice. I'm sure actually people did notice, but no one's going to make me stop banging my head against the door. I have to just like literally look at the door, remember that the key's in my pocket, pull it out and be like, oh, unlock the door, walk through the door. And then through doing that, I'm reminded that like not only is there a whole world on the other side of the door, but there's like a million other doors that I might not even need keys to, that are just like, come open us. And so now I think I'm in the position, the place where like I'm hesitant to like shut the door behind me. And I'm like, is it better to like leave the door open, or is it better to just be like, peace, love, little donuts, door is shut? And I know the answer, but I'm in that position where it's like, I'm not quite ready to shut the door, but the key's always in my pocket. So like I could go back and open it again. But I have this like, I feel like I'm on a springboard of like, as soon as you shut the door, even more doors will start appearing. Doors have been a big theme in my life recently. So yeah, short answer, what's driving me to re-meet myself? New doors. Remembering that there's a whole big freaking world and we should explore it. Okay, talk to me about running. What has it taught you about yourself and why do you run? So I told you this, but I just watched my friend on the app who got me into running run the Boston Marathon today in 3 hours and 15 minutes with a 1-year-old. Insane. So, what has running taught me about myself? Because, like I said in the beginning, I love to put myself in a position that feels challenging. Obviously, I love it. I love the thought of it, and then I love it after the challenge is over. When I bump up against the challenge, it's like, I don't know if I would say I love it, but it fuels me. And then like the reminder of like how I felt when I decided to start that challenge and like the anticipation of how I know I'm going to feel once I complete it is what drives me to get through the like really challenging part of it. And running has been the most, what's coming to mind is like, it's the most controlled way to put myself in a discomfort, in an uncomfortable situation, knowing that like I can get through it, even though in the moment of the discomfort, I'm like, can I get through it? And I'm hesitant to use the word controlled because I don't have control, obviously, over how I feel and how my body shows up and my lungs and my heart rate and my thoughts. But I do have control over like, okay, I'm going to lace up my shoes. I'm going to pick a playlist. I'm going to go outside. I'm going to just start running. And however it unfolds, it unfolds. It is the hardest thing I've ever done in my whole life. I feel like if I choose to have children, this will be what prepares me for it. All three: pregnancy, childbirth, and then raising the child. Like this is not having children. This bumps up against that. Not as hard, I wouldn't say, considering how people talk about raising children and giving birth, but the closest thing I've gotten to it for sure. And I've always moved my body and challenged my body to do things that is uncomfortable since I started dancing when I was 2 years old. And then like fast forward to teaching yoga. When you first start teaching yoga, that's really scary. Nothing like this takes the cake. Running, it makes me so emotional. A rainbow of emotions. Every emotion I could ever feel, I feel that. And it also why do I run? It reminds me that like, even though I don't have control over how my body feels or my heart rate or my lungs or my thoughts, I actually do. And like remembering that I hold that power, and we all do, FYI, is like makes the challenges when I'm not running in my regular life feel so much more manageable. And I honestly think like, I don't know what came first, the chicken or the egg. I feel like getting this deep into running and training for my first full marathon is part of like, I don't believe in coincidences. So like, I feel like it's part of what inspired me to take a really honest look at my life and be like, what's working and what's not. And like, there were some things that weren't working. So I made the really hard choice to be like, I'm going to do something else. And not because what wasn't working was bad, but because it didn't align with what I wanted to do anymore. What do I want to do? I have no idea. But I have a feeling that running is going to be like that constant for me. I mean, it already is. It already is. Yeah, it's like as hard as it, because it's so hard, it reminds me who the hell I am. And it's like, I can literally do anything. When I first started training for my first half marathon, which was with my friend who just finished the Boston Marathon today, like the thought of running 13.1 miles was unfathomable. And then I ran 6 miles and I was like, that was really hard, but I think I can do this. And then I ran my first half in Vegas and it was amazing and it gave me false confidence. I sub 2. I didn't even know what that meant. My friends were like, you sub 2. And I was like, what? I didn't even have on like the right running shoes. It was down a mountain. That's why. So 3 weeks later was the Pittsburgh half. This was in 2024. And I was like, oh, might as well do Pittsburgh. Well, that humbled me. That's when I was like, holy hell, this is what this is what they mean by like running is no joke. And so that really like opened my eyes to how much work it's going to take to enjoy it. So I was like, all right, I want to do the Pittsburgh half again, but I want to have fun. I want to do it with friends. I don't want to worry about time. We're going to be the party pacers. We did that. It was amazing. And even at that point, like running 13.1 miles was like so hard. And then when I was like, I think I'm going to do a full, all of a sudden I'm running a half marathon like every week for 6 weeks. And the thought of doing that 2 years ago, like I wouldn't have been able to do it, but I can now. So that's why it reminds me who the hell I am, because it shows me in real time that like with determination and hard work and commitment, and like talking yourself out of any limiting beliefs, you can do whatever you want. And that spills into the rest of my life, which is why I feel like there's part of me that's like, I should be so nervous about what I'm going to do and how I'm going to make money, because we all have to make money, but I'm not, which sounds like such a privileged thing to say, but I'm not, I don't have anything like to lean on. Matt, my husband, owns his own business. People are like, oh, Mitchell Builds must be going great. And I'm like, it is, but it's also not going any different than it has for the past 3 years. Like I still need to work and I know that I will. But I think that running both inspired me to recognize what in my life I wanted to keep and what I wanted to change. And then it gave me the confidence to trust that like, I don't know what the future is and I never am. So why would I let that stop me from trying something new? Again, wonder if I answered the question. Okay. You believe people are more powerful than they realize. When did you start to believe that for yourself? I think I kind of answered this, but obviously with running. But I think that it happened before. I know it happened before running. I do love to like encourage people to recognize that they are more powerful than they realize. Love that, which is where I think the like teacher in me comes into play, the like coach in me. The first thing that comes to mind is when I started dancing really little. When I started dancing seriously, I was 9, which sounds hilarious, but it's true. And I auditioned for the performing company at my dance studio, AKA the like competition team. And I think I was 8 at the time, actually, when I first auditioned, and I didn't make it. But the owner of the studio always had this like soft spot for me. Her name's Shella. This was years ago, obviously. And so she asked the performing company director, like, give Montana the summer, like have her try out again at the end of summer. So I did. I was so bad. I was horrible. And I think that I kind of was like shoved in because the owner, for whatever reason, was just like, Montana, you're so cute. And I was like, am I? I'm a really bad dancer. But so in that experience, Michelle Stafford, who is the performing company director, who is still like a mentor and like maternal figure to me, even though that's weird because I feel like she didn't age and I got older and now we're like friends. She would love that I said that, obviously. So she was like, Montana, I need you. I think that my age group was dancing like Monday, Wednesday, Friday. And she's like, I need you to come to the younger age group on Tuesday, Thursday as well. I need you to come to class every single day because like you've got some work to do. And I thought that was the coolest thing in the world. I was like, oh my God, I get to go to the dance studio every single day. So that's what started my obsession. And inevitably, if you're training that much with the right coach and teacher, you're going to get better. And really quickly, I started to excel. And in a year, I went from like the worst dancer who really had no business being on the competitive team to like honestly one of the best. And that's, I think that like in hindsight, I don't know if I recognized it. Maybe it was subconscious when I was 9 and 10 years old. But looking back in retrospect, like that was the first time that I really realized like, holy shit, as long as you like show up and do the work, then there's no other option than to succeed and to surprise yourself and to grow and expand. So like, why not show up and do the work, especially if it's something that you like and that you're passionate about. And then that just like kept unfolding in a million different ways as life continued to evolve, as I continued to evolve. Yeah. So shout out to Michelle Stafford. I love her. She still owns a dance studio and she's still doing the damn thing. Mwah. Love you, Michelle. You help others reconnect to themselves. How connected to yourself do you feel right now? I feel more connected to myself now than I have in a really long time. Because again, like here's a theme on accident, because I went through, I'm like on the tail end of a really challenging situation and experience. And so like whether it's going to the dance studio a million days a week or training for a full marathon or choosing to make the hard decision because I know it's the right one for me. On the other side of challenge, I just get to like feel it's like this, like life goes like this, right? So like on the other side of the ebb, you get to flow. And by no means am I like totally in a flow state right now. I'm still like on my way up there. But because I again reminded myself that like I have the power to do whatever I want to do, and I'm allowed to do whatever I want to do, and everyone has the power to do whatever they want to do. It's like every hard thing you go through, every challenge that you experience, you remember that. And I just went through something really hard, which is quitting my job. And through that, it's like such a beautiful opportunity to practice what I preach, really, and make sure that everything I'm doing feels aligned. I don't even want to say like where I want to go because I don't know what that is. But I've always been big on like, as long as you do what you feel like you should be doing, I hate the word should, but like you feel like you're aligned in your day-to-day tasks, then what's supposed to come will come. And it's not like I've never really been big on specific goals. And it's not because I think there's anything wrong with it. Like I know some people are like, you shouldn't be fixated on one specific thing or the outcome. I think having goals is an amazing thing. Training for the marathon is a goal, right? But as far as like where my life's going or what sort of doors are going to open for me, I don't know. But I do believe that if I continue to walk in alignment with the way I feel guided, then the doors that are meant for me will be there in the perfect divine right timing. So yeah, I feel connected to myself right now because I'm doing the hard thing to step back into alignment with where my sweet little soul is calling me, and just like trusting that that's somewhere because it's got to be somewhere. Okay. If your future self was here right now, what would she say to you? I could cry. What's coming to mind is like, I told you, like, see? And I don't know what that means, but if I think back to, like, that's kind of what I would say to my younger self as well. It's just like, you were so worried and you made it to like exactly where you were supposed to make it, exactly where you're supposed to land. Um, I've been working a lot on like really sitting in the energy of what's meant for me can't pass me by, because then it's like there's nothing to worry about, which might sound really woo woo, but if like anyone listening gives themselves like 5 seconds, just like close your eyes, focus on your breath 5 seconds, and then just feel what it feels like to really believe for 1 second, like whatever is meant for me will not pass me by. For like that 1 second, it's like, oh, what is there to be concerned about then? And I'm a firm believer in that. So that's what my future self would say. Like, you're not worried. You didn't worry. And look, you had no need to worry. And in those little moments of worry, you just remember that's like, you're going to land where you're supposed to land. It's happened. It's worked for me for 31 years. Hopefully it works for another 90. I guess I'm living to be 101. Okay. What is the best lesson life is teaching you right now? And what are you learning to love about yourself? What is the biggest lesson life is teaching me right now? I think it's that. Like, it's the reminder that like I have what I can control, and there are lots of things outside of me that I cannot control. And so focusing on the things that I can control and making them feel as good as they possibly can, and just letting them be what feel really right to me, is inevitably going to make sure it's going to put me in a place where the things that I can't control are always things that I can handle. Yeah. And that like another thing that life's teaching you right now is that like turning the page doesn't have to be locking a door. Like you can walk a different direction and still grieve what you left, whether that's like someone dying, which 7 months ago I had some of my best friends' mom pass away, or like my mom and stepdad splitting up and going different directions, or like me leaving my job. I'm learning that grief shows up in a lot of different ways, and that like grief and the word eagerness is coming to mind. Like you can grieve, and you can also be eager for what's coming next and excited. You can be grateful for what has happened and choose to try something else without the thing that has happened being anything that's negative. It doesn't have to be negative. It can be beautiful, but it's behind you. What am I learning to love about myself? I think I'm learning to love that that I do have high standards, and that I like being a standard setter, and that when people meet me at that standard, it feels really good, whether that's in a relationship or on a run or in, I don't know, a work setting. What I really love is finding people who I look at and I'm like, holy shit, that's up there. I want to level up there. Because I think that I have shamed myself for a while on like, there's something wrong with me because I have this high standard for myself and for others. And like, how dare I expect that from anyone? But it's like, I think it's okay to have high standards. I think it's more fun to have high standards. I think that's how we learn and grow and meet ourselves, and surprise ourselves. I keep saying that, surprise ourselves. Yeah, I'm learning to love my high standards and to love all the people that like make those high standards skyrocket even higher. It's cool. It's hard. Why am I running a marathon? I don't know. Okay. How has it felt to be seen in the hot seat today? What's my biggest takeaway? Any final thoughts? How has it felt to be seen in the hot seat today? I think the first thing that's coming to mind is I think it's so cool that you're doing this. because when I met Tally, this hadn't been created yet. And it's been really awesome to like just watch your brain manifest this. So I am really honored to be a part of it. I love watching everyone else's shares and vulnerability. Yeah, so I'm just grateful that I get to be like a little slice of that pie, of the pie that is the hot seat. Um, it's a really good pie. It's still cooking, huh? Biggest takeaway. I think more people, I think that if, yeah, I think more people should answer questions like this, even if it's for themselves, like in a journal. It's been really cathartic and uplifting, um, to like own my answers and feel like I'm talking to you because I am, without the like, without the back of my mind ever thinking, which because it honestly hasn't, like, who's gonna see this? There's a camera. Yeah, I think we should all be answering these questions more often. That's my biggest. So I'll speak for myself. I should be answering these questions more often in the privacy of my own journal, and or in a public setting of like social media. Final thoughts. Love you, Tally.